Taiwan's HTC may not be a household name just yet, but it's right at home in making smartphones for and with the big boys. It's the sole producer and joint developer of Google's answer to Apple's iPhone, the Nexus One. Founded in 1997, High-Tech Computer, as it was once called, saw revenue soar to a high of more than $4.6 billion in 2008. But last year, sales fell for the first time, and profit has declined for 6 straight quarters on a bumpy rollout of Google's somewhat unproven Android operating system.
HTC is actually one of the 3 pure smartphone stocks globally, the other 2 being RIM and Palm. So lots of investors are actually dying to own any smartphone stocks to get benefit, to get exposure to the smartphone growth stories. But unfortunately, HTC, over the past year, they have been doing not a good job.
That's because up until recently, HTC had focused primarily on making smartphones based on the Windows mobile operating system, which, let's face it, has not been as popular as, say, Apple or from BlackBerry. Now, the Nexus One pushes HTC heavily into Google's Android platform, and analysts believe that will help the company's bottom line. But there's a catch. HTC's Nexus One will be competing against other Android platform phones offered as well by HTC.
Even though some of HTC's own brand smartphone is going to be cannibalized by Nexus One, the Nexus One is still coming from HTC. So I think net, this is still going to be a revenue or margin accretive product for HTC.
We haven't been as bullish, and part of that factor is what you're saying. There's a lot more competition. You have Samsung and LG coming out. You even have Google trying to pitch it. Now HTC is designing it, but an HTC built phone for Google probably carries less margin.
HTC executives declined Bloomberg's request for an interview. The company's shares have risen about 18% in the past year, far underperforming an 80% rise in the benchmark TAIEX over the same time frame. And Google's threat this week to pull out of China, well, that clouds the picture for HTC as well.
Still have to see just how much they pull out and whether they go to full blockade where Android can't be used. But I think it's tough to stop that.
After a tough 2009, HTC is counting on the Nexus One to give it more reason to celebrate in 2010.